I have a yellow Mustang. It's yellow so everybody can see me. Oh, Lord, Lord, Lord. So, the story just keeps getting more normal. Every day is more and more normality going on here. Don't worry about it. We got we got a letter from the host site for all the streaming platforms saying that all of our officially released songs are now under review for violating community standards. And they want to copy all the lyrics so that, Spotify and all these other sites will continue to play our music. So we're either the biggest band in the world. I mean, I don't even know what you would call it. How does that even make sense? Why would that make sense? We're not getting all these plays on Spotify and shit. Why would they even have why would we even have their attention? Especially when you compare what we do to everything to rap music. Just death metal music or anything like that. All those other genres where it's literally nigga shoot, kill, drugs, that's okay. But if you make songs to uplift people and question the reality of what we're shown, sorry, that's not okay. You can't do that. I mean, how insane is that? We're nothing, right? We're nothing. We don't matter. If we don't matter, why do we have so much attention? If what we do is just shit, it's just shit. How dare you make such shit all the time? If that was the case, then why would it matter? It's like you can't have it both ways. We can't be nothing and the biggest threat in the world that you have to censor the fuck out of and all this other shit. How does that work? Violating community standards for what? To me that's amazing. To me that's really telling. Don't worry. We have a backup plan. We've had it for a long time. We were going to do it a long time ago, but we just didn't. And now it's time to do it. It's pretty simple. Of course they're going to be... Of course they're going to come after us. Of course they're not going to let us achieve the success that we clearly should be able to achieve. Our numbers are ridiculous. If you actually saw our numbers, you'd think, my God, how are these guys not on every radio station? For a group of nobodies that does something completely different and doesn't follow any of the rules that we're given, we sure do shine, man. I highly suggest people listen to some TBG while you still can. So today we're gonna do the Epstein stuff. Just wait till I get home. Wow. So I guess the new thing is that Obama and Biden made up the Epstein list? Is that what Trump's saying now? That is some expert planning on their end. Oh, come on. Go, 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 go. The light's green. Go. Oh, let's see. Are you talking about how Biden never revealed the list? Yes, that's what I'm talking about. You know, if you're dumb enough to think that they're all against each other, then I guess the narrative you're provided might work for you. In the Biden group, they released what they said was the list. But, you know, Biden could have easily brought up all of Trump's allegations during the race, the election process. Never did. Just like Biden, or just like Trump never brought up the creepy Joe Biden stuff. It's all just, you know, when do you realize it's all just fuckery? When it comes to the Trump supporters, I mean, you're just as dumb as it gets, and there's really no sense in arguing with you. You all see that every other president is corrupt, but not the guy who's been known as the most corrupt guy, like in the picture for decades. Long before he was president, Trump was considered a corrupt asshole. You know, it's like, what are you even missing there? But if people see what they want to see, hear what they want to hear, live how they want to live, play how they want to play, dance how they want to dance. He had a family. They do what they want to do, say what they want to say, live how they want to live, play how they want to play. You guys remember that song, right? MC Hammer. MC Hammer making an Addams Family song. Because, you know, he's from these streets. Hammer's a badass. Hammer don't take no shit about anybody talking about his mama. Huh? Somebody driving in a car by themselves with a mask on. What a joke. What a fucking joke. How are you that stupid? Adams, too legit. Go. Go Adams, too legit. Go. Go Adams, too legit. Go. Go Adams family. Oh no. I don't want to get in trouble for copyright because I was singing a song. The desperation is just outrageous, man. It's what they do. Like, it only makes sense when you think, like, they can't actually argue or deny or debunk or, you know, there's nothing they truly have. Listen to this shitty music. All the same shit. Like, how can the same song be made just over and over and over again and it still has appeal? It's the same dumbass song. What I don't get is how Fiend is such a good song or a popular song. You want to talk about terrible. Just terrible. What the fuck? Fiend. Vain. It's terrible. Holy shit, dude. What is you doing? Oh, so Epstein, the tapes. I mean, I don't even, to me, it's like, what is there to even argue about that? You don't know what the fuck you're being shown. Here, look at this. This is the prison cameras. Yeah, that's what it is. It's from that day. Yeah, and that's what it is. It is because we say so. And it's not like we'd ever lie to you guys about anything, so don't think we do. Jesus. There are so many people out begging for money. It's crazy. It's so sad. The cop just pulled out in front of people. What a douchebag. Oh. We're gonna get home. We're not gonna have any viewers. We're gonna have to reset. Thinks they're fucking with me every time I put the title something along these lines. What are you gonna do, huh? That guy has his fucking equipment that far away from him. Are you crazy? In this neighborhood? Somebody come steal that shit quick. What are we watching? I don't know what we're watching. I don't know what you mean. So what do you think of the Epstein video there, Hoggo? What's your professional opinion on things? I think it's pretty insulting at the end of the day. He said, we are watching, not what are we watching? Oh, okay, thanks. Obviously, I'm not sitting here looking and reading as it is, but what are you watching, Hoggo? Oh, we have a Navy Submariner here. 13 minutes into the video, we have somebody from the Navy that was a Submariner that's here to be like, no, don't you dare say that submarines aren't real. What are you doing? Come on. You got all those people in the Navy, just scouring the web, looking for videos where they might be talking about submarines, or at least there's submarine in the title. Never mind the Epstein part. He doesn't care about that. Jeffrey was just playing a billionaire. I don't know if he was playing a billionaire. He was given the billionaire status. He was given the Maxwell profile, I'd love to know what it's called. Operation whatever it is. But it's clearly the continuation of the Maxwell thing. Epstein really sort of, it coincides with each other. Right as Maxwell supposedly dies, Epstein supposedly, gains. And it's really simple. Maxwell was the Mossad agent. Jeff was just the face of the operation. Yeah, no, for sure. Ghislaine is the handler. But I'm talking about Robert Maxwell. Robert Maxwell, I don't even know how anybody denies it. Like that's one of those, other than I guess you don't know, which is entirely possible because you're not told to look at Robert Maxwell. But the Robert Maxwell narrative is the character is as obvious as it gets. And it has the typical, poor Jewish story. Oh, he grew up in the Jewish ghettos, and oh man, he was so poor. Him and his sister had to share a pair of shoes, and you can't validate any of this because all of his family was killed in the Holocaust. And so you just have to believe the narrative that you're given and don't ask any questions because there's no one there to validate it. And then of course he's known by multiple different names. He is a decorated fucking soldier because he fought in the from Normandy to Berlin. He's a Ukrainian, Czechoslovakian, but Ukrainian born, transferred to to being British. He's a British citizen who changes his name again, and like it's all like standard, They steal other people's identity, other people's story, other people's history. And then they just apply this. Oh yeah, this was his name back then. He went by this. Completely different name. Not even like a similar anything to it. He almost gotten in the accident every time I've driven in the past. Like, what? I've almost gotten in the accident every time I've driven for the that's 3 years. That's weird. They use it to browbeat us. Use what to browbeat us? I'm not being a dick. I'm just asking you to elaborate. It's all just manipulation. It's like the Maxwell story is there for people who go to look for it, and then you look and you whether you're a conspiracy person or not, you're gonna be affected by what you're shown. And one time a Max joined me, get a Mordello hit me going 70 and flipped his Corolla 3 times into a ditch. That's terrifying. Psyops. Yeah, but this is where we have to sort of. It's like you as a person, you have to then be like, okay, so am I arrogant like this? Am I somebody who thinks, well, this is a psyop and that's a psyop, but that's not a psyop. You have to think like it's all psyop. That's the key to it. That's the true mystery, or the true, the real truth in everything is that you really have no business believing anything, because all they do is lie to us. It's literally all just a lie. And it's that understanding that is free. Give me a second. Oh. So let's look into some shit, shall we? Make me join it. No. All right, so I want to go to Wikipedia, and let's do what we always do here, because there's the people who will cry about Wikipedia. So it's really important that you guys understand what you're seeing here.
Moetzet Yesha, in conjunction with My Israel, has arranged Instruction Day for Wiki editors. The goal of the day is to teach people how to edit in Wikipedia, which is the #1 source of information today in the world. As a way of example, if someone searches the Gaza flotilla, we want to be there. We want to be the guys who influence what is written there, how it's written, and to ensure that it's balanced and Zionist in nature.
I came here to learn.
Okay. So for those who are going to cry about Wikipedia not being legitimate enough, or whatever excuse you use, understand that Wikipedia is the narrative that they want us to have. Right? Wikipedia is, admittedly, you saw that guy. That guy was Naftali Bennett, who at the time is the future Prime Minister of Israel. Currently, he's a former Prime Minister of Israel. But you have he's absolutely 100% Mossad. He's, high-ranking Israeli operative, without a doubt, qualified. It's verified. He's an Israeli operative, or a Mossad operative, Israeli intelligence. And he's saying that they're having an instruction day for the editors of Wikipedia so that they edit things the way that Israel wants them edited. That's literally it. That's literally it. Funny how my dad used to build stuff that don't exist. That don't exist. What kind of dumbass, speaks that way? It don't exist. Well, let's see. If your dad is getting paid, which again, we just have to trust you on this, that you're saying this, because it's always some bullshit like this. But your dad is getting paid to push a narrative. And why wouldn't he do it? If you're getting paid well, you have the pensions, you have all these things, your entire family's lives are wrapped up in this narrative. Of course you're going to do that. And then of course when you're told don't say anything because that will put your family in jeopardy, you go, okay, I'm not going to say anything. Look at how desperate it is. So, and as always, right, you have to think like all of these people are way more concerned with my belief in submarines than they are with Epstein, with, any of that shit, right? Because that makes more sense than anything. All right, so we did Epstein early life. You know what? I didn't do career, did I? Here, this is interesting. At age 21, Epstein started working in September of 74 as a physics and math teacher for teens at the Dalton School. Let's see what the Dalton School is. 74 was a good time. Yeah. The Dalton School, originally Children's University School, a private coeducational college preparatory school in New York, and a member of both the Ivy Preparatory School League and New York Interschool. The school is located in 4 buildings within the Upper East Side of Manhattan. In the 24-25 academic year, tuition rates totaled $64,000. Let's see. Type private independent college preparatory day school. Motto, go forth unafraid. Religious affiliations, non-sectarian. Established in 1919, of course. Founder, Helen Parkhurst. Let's see who Helen Parkhurst is. Oh, Jesus. Does she have Bell's palsy or something? That's an ugly broad. Born March 8th, 1886, died June 1st, 1973, was an American educator, author, lecturer, and the originator of the Dalton Plan, founder of the Dalton School, and host of Children's World with Helen Parkhurst on ABC television network. Parkhurst took her cues from developmental psychologist Jean Piaget and education reformers such as John Dewey and Horace Mann, producing a progressive educational philosophy emphasizing the development of the whole child. Born in Durand, Wisconsin, she graduated from Wisconsin State Teachers College at River Falls in 1907, studied at the University of Rome and Munich, as well as with Maria Montessori. There we go, it's all going to be connected, right? And was awarded her master's in 1943 from where else? From Yale. Like, anytime I see Yale anymore, it's an immediate shutdown. It's immediate red flag. It's an immediate, like, I mean, it's. Hang on a second. Do something. It's a screen timeout. Alright, that works. Okay. Just my screen timed out too quick, so now I switched that up. Alright. Bill Barr's daddy, the recruiter for Jeff. Yeah, but again, you only know that because of me. You only know that because of me. Don't you go sitting here trying to ruin the story before it's given. 6,600,000. What's the difference? That makes sense. Bill Barr covered up Franklin cover-up and Epstein cover-up. Bill Barr did. What did Bill Barr have to do with the Franklin cover-up? I didn't see that part. That's something new. What do you know? But this says she got her master's from Yale. She taught briefly in Wisconsin, moved to Tacoma, Washington in 1909, and returned to Wisconsin as the director of the Department for Training of Primary Teachers in Stevens Point Normal School. At Stevens Point Normal School from 1913 to 15, for a time, Parker served as the director of all Montessori schools in the United States. Interesting. This is Little Dalton. Yeah, makes total sense. This was built in, who knows? I mean, I doubt we actually get to find that. The Dalton School, originally called the Children's University School, was founded by Helen Parkhurst in 1919. After experimentation in her own one-room school with Maria Montessori, Parkhurst visited other progressive schools in Europe, including Bedales School and its founder, headmaster John Hayden Badley, in England. She developed what she called the Dalton Plan, which encouraged teachers and students to work together towards individualized goal. The laboratory plan was first put into effect as an experiment in the high school of Dalton, Massachusetts in 1916. The estate of her benefactor, Josephine Porter Boardman, was also near the town of Dalton. From this beginning, from this beginning, the laboratory plan and school eventually took their names. This isn't very interesting. But it does show a bunch of connections. Relocated in 1919, Parkhurst relocated to New York City, where she opened her first school on West 74th Street. Larger facilities soon became necessary. The lower school was moved to West 72nd Street, and the high school opened in the autumn of 1929 in the current building at 108 East 89th Street. Good thing they didn't know what valuable real estate that was, huh? Eleanor Roosevelt admired the work of Helen Parkhurst and played an important role in expanding the population and resources of the school by promoting a merger between the Todd Hunter School for Girls, founded by Winifred Townhunter, and Dalton in 1939. We'll go back. Now we're at Jeffrey Epstein. How did we get back here so quickly? Despite lacking Epstein began his professional career. Wait, what just happened? Okay. Oh yeah, that's why, because I was down in the career part. That's what it was. Okay, so Epstein is a teacher at the Dalton School in the Upper East Side of Manhattan. Donald Barr, who served as the headmaster until June of 74, was known to have made several unconventional recruitments at the time, although it is unclear whether he had a direct role in hiring Epstein. 3 months after Barr's departure, Epstein began to teach at the high school, despite his lack of credentials. So, what it's saying is that for some strange reason, William Barr, which shit. Hate when it does this. Donald Barr was the headmaster at this Dalton Academy, and let's look into that real quick, because I'm sure there's a rich history of this guy. Donald Barr, born August 8th, 1921, died February 5th, 2004, was an American educator, writer, and Office of Strategic Services, and an Office of Strategic Services officer. Bitch stole my fucking blunts. Punch her in her fucking face. Sorry, this isn't how you'd like it to be. I'm sorry. All right. So, carrying headmaster of the Dalton School in New York and the Hackley School in Tarrytown, New York. He also wrote 2 science fiction novels. Because, you know, that's how shit used to work back then. And it's only gotten worse, you know. And this time he was only an educator, a writer, and an Office of Strategic Affairs officers who wrote science fiction novels. If he was from another 100 years earlier, he would have been like a mathematician, a mason, a writer, a screenwriter, a playwright, you know, a teacher, a chemist, a fucking piano maker. Like, he'd have been a whole bunch of other shit. They sure do like to do that with those old characters that they give us. I know you love it. His sons are former United States Attorney General William Barr and physicist Stephen Barr. Barr was born in Manhattan, New York, the son of Epste1n a psychologist, and Pelham Barr, an economist. Pelham, Pelham. Have you heard about a lot of Pelhams back in your day, in your life? You met a lot of Pelhams. He and his wife, Mary Margaret. Wait. Oh, right. He and his wife, Mary Margaret, had 4 children, including William P. Barr, who served as 77th Attorney General in the George Bush, H.W. Bush administration, and as the 85th U.S. Attorney General in the Donald... Oh, so that gives credence to what Algo was saying. Don't you think it's strange that he was the Attorney General 2 separate times with such a huge, time in between? I mean, we're talking about 20 plus years. Are the comments shut off already? No, they didn't shut the comments off, did they? And a particle physicist, Stephen Barr. Donald Barr was born to a Jewish family, but later converted to Catholicism. Have you heard about that a lot in your life? Have you heard about a lot of those people who convert from Judaism to something else? He sent his children to a Catholic elementary school, and his son William would later describe him as more Catholic than Catholics. He was more Catholic than Catholics, this Jew. I'd love to know what made him convert, what the scenario was that facilitated a conversion. Barr graduated from Columbia College in 1941 with a degree in mathematics and anthropology. a degree in mathematics and anthropology. And so because of that, he became the headmaster and a science fiction writer. Okay. Barr served in the Office of Strategic Services during World War II. Following the conflict, he returned to Columbia, where he earned a master's in English in 1950 and completed some course requirements for a PhD in the discipline while also teaching in the English department. Do you guys, like, how many of you you go back to school as an adult, right? After you've done all this other shit. And it's like so difficult to manage all these different things, especially a family and all this other shit, right? During this period, he also taught courses with field work in sociology and political science at the School of Engineering. The School of Engineering. And wrote science and mathematics texts for elementary and junior high school students. So here we have another person connected in this same little circle that is in charge of what we know, of providing the textbooks, the texts that then are pushed on the people. He initiated the Columbia University Science Honors Program in 1958 and was its director as an assistant dean to the School of Engineering. I mean, I just, we're talking about the 50s. We're talking about a time when communication was extremely difficult compared to what it is now. And you just think like, most of us, it's hard to get any sort of real success focused in one direction. Whereas these guys they're so spread out over so many different things, and yet they succeed in all of them. From 63 to 64, he also administered the National Science Foundation Cooperative College School Program. I mean, think about all this. This is all shit that has to be handwritten, typed out on typewriters. Has to be delivered by mail. You couldn't just fax things or email them to people. Yep, mental illness. You got to have mental illness if you're reading a Wikipedia page. Or if you're just talking about Epstein in general. How dare you? Let's see. I just want to see. 11 years ago, no subscribers. 12 years ago, 10 subscribers. 1 year ago, 3 subscribers. This sounds very legitimate to me. He was headmaster of the Dalton School from 1964 to 1974. For a brief time at the end of his tenure as headmaster, disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein was employed as a math teacher. That has nothing to do with this. That's a completely different sentence. He was headmaster of the Dalton School from 64 to 74. For a brief time at the end of his tenure as headmaster, disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein was employed as a math teacher. What? It's a weird sentence to just be thrown in there. It is unclear whether Barr hired Epstein. How is it unclear? How do we know all of these other details about everything else and that go way further back? But we don't know whether he actually hired Epstein. It just seems like it. In 73, Barr published Space Relations, a science fiction novel about a planet ruled by oligarchs who engage in child sex slavery. What? I mean, they always say write what you know, right? Holy shit. Yep, I don't use any, like, I'm just terrible. Don't use any critical thinking. I'm this, I'm that, yet you'll come watch me every single day and beg for my attention. Because that part makes sense. Holy shit, he wrote a book about oligarchs in child sex trafficking, child sex slavery, while being associated with Epstein, and yet it's nothing. All right. Space Relations, a slightly gothic interplanetary tale, is a space opera noveled by Donald Barr, the father of former U.S. Attorney General William Barr and former employer of Jeffrey Epstein. Originally published on September 17th, 1973 by Charterhouse and distributed by McKay. It was reprinted by Fawcett Crest Books in February 1975 and is one of only 2 novels Barr is known to have written, the other being A Planet in Arms. I wonder what that one's about. Plot. In the future, humans have formed an intergalactic empire ruled by aristocrats. During a time of war with the Plith, Plith, an empire of ant-like alien bug people. Wow. That's who they say the mound builders are, and a lot of those Native American stories and indigenous people stories from around the world talk about a more advanced version of ant people, which is who basically saved humanity during the last reset, brought them into the underground shit, which is funny because I was literally going to talk about the city in Turkey that was discovered, the huge underground complex that was discovered in Turkey a few years ago, decades ago. And maybe we still will, but look, the dumbass starts flipping out. Trump 2028. Like, just how stupid do you have to be? Dumbass can't make any good fucking... I already did. I've already denied it many, many times. The Hall of Hoax. I even called it today. You pose questions and then don't take time to ponder. It's clear you don't absorb anything you read. Yup. This is the reality of the opposition that I get. Because this guy is all about Trump. Never mind he can't say why, and never mind all of the bad stuff associated. He's a Trump supporter. Gee, I wonder who the pedos are. Just fucking silly, man. It's just silly. Like, I don't even understand why you even bother. All you do is make me look good. All you do is prove my point over and over again. I just saw it makes you freak out in your post comment. Number one, just saw it makes you freak out in your post comments. Yeah, look at me freak out. And obviously it's working. Yes, it's obviously working. I am so bothered by the idea that these stupid pedos are too stupid to realize that they out themselves when they do this. But gosh, it bothers me so much. It bothers me so much I don't block you and let you keep doing what you're doing because it bothers me so much. All right. And again, let's just say you are a Trump supporter. Let's just say you are, you believe the narrative we're given. When you have someone then looking into it and looking into the history and stuff, you would think you would at the very least, you'd want to know. You'd want to know what all this stuff says so that you'd be able to argue a little bit better. And you'd think if you were going to argue, you'd focus on what was actually being said instead of your crybaby, admitted desperate bid for my attention, right? But this is yet another one of these profiles that just is seemingly defending pedophilia. Gee, I wonder why. And I guess thinks all this is okay. I mean, I don't, it is what it is. So anyway, in the war with the Plith, an empire of ant-like bug people, Ambassador John Craig, a formerly liberal Earthman in his 30s, is dispatched to the strategically important planet Kassar, a human colony that was settled by the Cheryl Society or the Carlisle Society. As a place of the exile. Let's see what the Carlisle. This is actually blue. So, Thomas Carlyle was a Scottish essayist, historian, and philosopher, known as the Sage of Chelsea. His writings strongly influenced the intellectual and artistic culture of the Victorian era. Sure, he did. Carlisle Society, as a place of exile for political extremists, and now is ruled. Oh, there's one of those neighbors that hate me so much. They honk and wave, but it's really them flipping me off. I just hide it. Fuck you. Fuck you, you hater of pedophilia, slavery. What's wrong with you? Why do you hate these things so much? Why won't you just be a good little goyim and shut your mouth? You're making this very difficult for us. Go tell it to their faces, coward. Okay, let me just hop in the car and go tell who to their faces? I'd absolutely spit in every single one of these fucking clowns' faces that's here. Every one of these little chosen little troll clowns that are here, they'd never do shit. I'd spit in your face, try to get around your nose, and you'd probably open your mouth. Because you're just nasty. Extremist is now ruled by oligarch high council, by an oligarchical high council of 7 nobles, each of whom is in charge of a different domain with its own traditions. Their boredom and absolute power have driven them to madness, to the point that Kassar's entry into the empire has been stymied by the Man-Inhabited Planets Treaty Clause, written by Craig, against alliances with slave-owning societies due to its practice of kidnapping humans and becoming legal playthings for the galaxy's super rich. I mean, seriously, you just gonna go with the guy that hired Epstein without having the credentials to be hired, as one of his last moves before going into the private sector and making a gazillion dollars, who also happens to be the father of Attorney General William Barr, who, as Algo said, covered up the Franklin cover-up and covered up the Epstein death. This guy just happens to write this story? Where do you think he got the inspiration from? Where do you think he got, you know, all the names and all the source material from? He just happened to make it up? That is fucking insane. Craig, who is now campaigning to bring Kosser into the empire, had previously been to the planet when the passenger ship on which he was traveling on a return trip from the Beetlejuice conference was captured by space pirates. Dun, dun, dun. While en route to Kassar, one of the pirates awakened Craig and other prisoners to rape a 15-year-old virginal redhead female captive in front of them. He woke them up to rape this little 15-year-old redhead in front of them. All right. The rapist's fellow pirates later hear of this and dock his pay as punishment for spoiling her market value. Oh my God, this is so fucking insane. Craig then spent 2 years as a slave of the beautiful, sensual, and sadistic Lady Morgan Sidney, the only female member of the oligarchy with whom he became romantically involved. Together, they lived in her castle, ruling over and engaging in sexual relations with those under their domain, including an enslaved teenager at a clinic used to breed enslaved people. When Craig stumbles on hints of an alien invasion, he realizes he must escape to save humanity. Craig is depicted as undisturbed by Lady Morgan's sadism. When he is ordered to sexually assault the enslaved teenager, he enjoys his participation in the act. And that's the end. That's the end of that book. Or the at least the narrative we're given. They're not going to say whether he succeeded or anything like that. The end of the summary is that he liked raping children. It's like they want us to know this shit. A Planet in Arms. This is his second book, right? And this one doesn't get nearly the credit. Like, it's interesting how A Planet in Arms doesn't have all of that other stuff. The other one, Space Relations, is a space opera noveled by William Barr, the father of U.S. former Attorney General William Barr, noveled by Donald Barr, former employer of Jeffrey Epstein, originally published in this. It was reprinted. This whole paragraph about it. This one says, A Planet in Arms is a science fiction novel by American writer Donald Barr, published in 1981. A Planet in Arms is a novel in which Rohan's planet has just won a revolution against the Terran Empire of Earth and established a new government. That's it. There's no elaborate explanation of that. Interesting. Oh, wait. I wanted to see... Space relations. There was something else I wanted to see on here, I think. Nope, I guess not. Okay. Go back to Barr. In 73, published Space Relations. A science... Barr published Space Relations, a science fiction novel about a planet ruled by oligarchs who engage in child sex slavery. It has been noted that the plot of the novel anticipates the crimes of Epstein and his accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell. Barr also reviewed books for the New York Times. He reviewed them, meaning, you know, by the time you know about something, whether it's printed in the Times or whatever, it's been through a bunch of their hands first to make sure it falls in line. Before they go pushing something, it has to be scrutinized and has to go through a bunch of different hands in order to be published. And that's just interesting, I guess. I don't know what else you would say there. In addition to his 2 science fiction novels, he told stories to the magazine of fantasy and science fiction. One of these, the 2002 Sam, was reprinted in the 2003 anthology Year's Best Fantasy 3. Wish I knew what Sam was about. In 1983, President Ronald Reagan nominated Donald Barr to be a member of the National Council on Educational Research. Just another piece of the, you know, they control everything. You know, this is them controlling the education system. Why is he so concerned about a pedo? Jesus, don't you just put your head down like I do? Anybody who wonders why I'm concerned or why my focus is on outing and killing these motherfuckers, that should tell you who you're dealing with, right? That should tell you who's in here trying to interfere with the feed. All right, so let's see. Let's go career. All right. Barr served in the blah, blah. Oh wait, we read this. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Selected works. Nope. Yeah, that's it. That's the end of the history on Donald Barr. Interesting. Well, let's see. I wonder what the history on William Barr is. Let's see how much they give us on this guy, who is 3 years older than Epstein, mind you. Barr, born William Pelham. There's that Pelham again. William Pelham Barr, born May 23rd, 1950, is an American attorney who served as United States Attorney General in the administration of President Bush from 91 to 93, and again in the first administration of Trump from 2019 to 2020. So actually 30 years. It's a good 30 years. Look at this face. That's a face you can trust right there, huh? Interesting. So remember, if you believe that the Jews are a race, well then they are, again, I don't understand how you can be a race and somebody can convert to or from you. But the family was Jewish, and for whatever reason it was, they converted to Catholicism at some point. Like, there's no real reason why. This is funny. So when he's the in office from February 14th, Valentine's Day, 2019 to December 23rd, 2020. The deputies for him are Rod Rosenstein, Ed O'Callahan, and Jeffrey A. Rosen. Hey, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Preceded by Jeff Sessions, succeeded by Merrick Garland. And then he was in office from August 16th, 1991 to January 20th, 1993. But then underneath it says acting from August 16th, 1991 to November 26th, 1991. That's weird. And he was succeeded by Janet Reno, who just disappeared, fell off the face of the fucking earth, man. I am attacking them with all of my might. I hate them so very much. You are correct. There's no hidden agenda here. You know exactly where I stand. I'm not a cult fan at all. I hate cults, especially a cult that is so fond of and associated with pedophilia and slavery. Interesting how that works. Define cult. Yeah, okay. Group of people who believe in a bunch of crazy nonsense for their own benefit, and that doesn't make any sense whatsoever, and practices a bunch of ritualistic crazy shit. I mean, Christians fall into that category too. Muslims as well. But you got to start somewhere. And from a numbers perspective, this fight's easier than the Christians or the Muslims. We're only talking about 0.183% of the world's population here. I mean, at some point, like, it just seems strange to me that it's so difficult to convince, to get Christians to change, to question things. When it's something as simple as you're not even the number one top dogs in your own shit, right? You guys are secondary in your own belief structure. And by secondary, there's everything is secondary. I guess you could say the animals are less than us, but not really. It's all in the same level. And when I ask the Christians, if you're not chosen by your God, then what are you? If you're not one of your Christian God's chosen people, a completely different religion is. But if you are not, what does that make you? And I don't know whether you realize it or not, but it makes you a slave. Born and raised in New York City, Barr was educated at the Horace Mann School, Columbia University, and George Washington University Law School. From 1971 to 77, Barr was employed by the CIA. Oh. It's just, he's a CIA, he's an agent for the CIA at the time when Epstein is hired. And Epstein is hired in a completely unconventional, unprecedented way. By who? This guy's dad. Just Just holy fucking shit, man. He then served as a law clerk to Judge Malcolm Richard Wilkie of the United States Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit. You know, because the United States, the capital of the United States is the District of Columbia. Are you, I mean, just come on. What does it take to get you to be like, this is crazy? In the 80s, Barr worked for the law firm Shaw, Pittman, Platts, and Trowbridge. With 1 year's work in the White House of the Ronald Reagan administration dealing with legal policies, before becoming Attorney General in 1991, Barr held numerous other posts within the Department of Justice, including leading the Office of Legal Counsel, the OLC, and serving as the Deputy Attorney General. From 1994 to 2008, Barr did corporate legal work for GTE and its successor, Verizon Communications. Gotta get that paycheck. From 2009 to 2018, Barr served on the board of directors for Time Warner. I mean, seriously. Don't you think, like, he would have been busy? Barr is a longtime proponent of the unitary execution theory, a nearly unfettered presidential authority over the executive branch of the United States government. The unitary executive theory, sorry. I don't know what I said. Okay. In U.S. constitutional law, the unitary executive theory is a theory according to which the President of the United States has sole authority over the executive branch. The theory often comes up in jurisprudential disagreements about the president's ability to remove employees within the executive branch, transparency and access to information, discretion over implementation of new laws, and the ability to influence agencies' rulemaking. There is disagreement about the doctrine's strength and scope. More expansive versions are controversial for both constitutional and practical reasons. Since the Reagan administration, the Supreme Court has embraced a stronger unitary executive, which has been championed primarily by its conservative justices, the Federalist Society, and the Heritage Foundation. Gee, I wonder who actually runs those things. I know, it's so nonsensical. All my nonsensical reading. Because I'm just making all of this up. It's not like I'm reading to you the narrative that they want us to have. No. I'm just making all this shit up. The theory is largely based on the vesting clause, which vests the president with the executive power and places the office atop the executive branch. Yeah. Critics debate over how much power and discretion the vesting clause gives the president, and emphasizing other countermeasures in the Constitution that provide checks and balances on executive power. Yeah, I mean, what do you think makes more sense? Right? Do you think our government as a whole should operate together and keep itself in check and all that stuff? Or do you think that the guy that is basically the manager of the McDonald's for every 4 years that they win the thing, unless they win, for 2 times, then they can't do it anymore. But we give this new person, complete and total authority over the executive branch of the government. Like that is the easiest recipe for corruption. Granted, it's all corrupt anyway. But at least when you have all of these moving parts, the corruption has to be a lot more organized and there's a lot more risk of there being, a cog, something going wrong that throws the whole system off. I mean, this is just ridiculous. Oh, it's not you're making shit up. You're just reading things with no context and haven't tried to and aren't tied to anything coherent. You're not making sense. Right. Again, you can't like it's incoherent. So I don't know what your first language is. It might probably be Hebrew or something. So you might have a hard time understanding what's being said, even though Hebrew is the youngest language on the planet. But it's incoherent ramblings that don't make any sense. Well, that's not my fault, is it? If I'm reading you the narrative we're supposed to have regarding how our government works, and your argument is that it doesn't make any sense, that's not really my fault now, is it? Critics debate over how much power and discretion the vesting clause gives the president and emphasize other countermeasures. Oh, yeah. In the 2020s, the Supreme Court held that regarding the powers granted by the vesting clause, the entire executive power belongs to the president alone. That's really scary. Since its inception, the President of the United States has exercised significant authority over the executive branch, but presidents have also sought to expand their reach. This has led to conflicts with Congress and its legislative powers, in addition to the powers to delegate under the necessary and proper clause. Which again, if this is the government of the United States that has our American best interest in mind, why does it have such a hard time working together? Especially when it comes to, things that generally involve helping the people. Like the stuff where it has to do with Israel, it works like a fucking charm. There's no opposition. It just goes right through. It doesn't even have to, Congress can order money. The president can order money. And anybody that wants to can just order that money gets sent to Israel, and it all just goes through. There's no conflict there. Yet when it comes to giving the people money and fixing the roads and fixing the broken system in general, they just can't seem to get that figured out, huh? The Reagan administration was the first presidential administration to cite unitary executive theory. Oh, that's weird. So for all of the time that the government existed, it didn't start doing this dictator-like thing until Reagan. The first, the actor, the legitimate actor, Ronald Reagan, who, by the time his second term came around, he was like full-on dementia, like just a nutbag. Kind of like your buddy Biden. It then entered public discourse with the George W. Bush administration and found a strong advocate in President Donald Trump. Gee, I wonder why President Trump advocated so much for him to have all of the power and authority. That doesn't sound like him at all. This isn't an ego trip for him at all. He's all about what's best for everyone. Presidents of both parties tend to view the idea that they should have increased power more favorably when in office, but not before or after that. Beyond disputing its constitutionality, common criticisms include the idea that the theory could lead to more corruption and less qualified employees. Cash Patel. Some critics point to countries where similar changes to move unitary executive to a more unitary executive have resulted in democratic backsliding, or to the vast majority of democracies, including the U.S. state and local governments, that give their executive leader less power. It's just insane. It's just insane. All right, Barr is a longtime proponent of this. In 1989, Barr, as head of the OLC, justified the U.S. invasion of Panama to arrest Manuel Noriega. Hey, how come we don't hear about Elon Musk very much anymore? Oh, yep, here we go. Schizophrenia. The same damn comment it always is. Schizophrenia. 8 years ago, 20 subscribers. I'm sitting here talking to the voices in my head, am I not? Funny how they all say, all these fake profiles say the same shit. You know what? Let's do a quick bounce here. We're gonna look up real quick. We're just gonna fuck this up a little bit. So first of all, we're going to show this.
Epste1n, in conjunction with My Israel, has arranged instruction day for wiki editors. The goal of the day is to teach people how to edit in Wikipedia, which is the #1 source of information today in the world. As a way of example, if someone searches the Gaza flotilla, we want to be there. We want to be the guys who influence what is written there, how it's written, and to ensure that it's balanced and Zionist in nature. I came here to learn.
It's funny because, like, again, I don't think I could show that to any normal person, and they'd be like, oh, what's that have to do with anything? You know, I think your average person hears the at the time future Prime Minister of Israel, like, just not even mincing words, flat out acknowledging that they were there to teach the Wikipedia editors, because they didn't know how to edit prior to this apparently, but to teach the Wikipedia editors how to edit things so that Israel can influence our perspective. And if people look up things, they want Israel's perspective to be the one that we have. And they want to make sure that it's balanced and Zionist in nature. I mean, I really don't I just don't get it. I don't get how anybody could ever just blow that off as nothing, right? And if you're a real life person, you're not a J, you're not an Israeli, you're not some sort of operative, you're not Team Jorge, you're not Act-IL, how do you hear that and not think anything of it? But who's Team Jorge? Well, Team Jorge is the name given to an outfit of Israeli contractors specialized in the use of malign cyber activities, including hacking, sabotage, and bot farm run social media disinformation campaigns to manipulate the outcomes of elections. They can only do it to manipulate elections. They can't just fuck with some guy's YouTube page. Don't think that. It's only about elections. The group was exposed in February 2023 after an award-winning undercover operation by journalists from Israel and France as part of a consortium of investigative journalists coordinated by Forbidden Stories. The organization has been active since at least 2015 and boasts of having manipulated 33 presidential elections worldwide, many of them in Africa. Don't worry, white people. At least 4 were in Africa, and in 27 cases with successful results. However, the only thing that you'll find when you look into those is examples of how it didn't work. That's the only examples they give you of that is when it didn't work, strangely enough. Their activities were revealed following a 2022 sting operation in Tel Aviv carried out by 3 undercover journalists who posed as prospective clients and filmed their interactions with Tal, T-A-L, Hanan, H-A-N-A-N, The group's leader and former Israeli Special Forces operative, in which he explained the inner workings of the organization. He said that Team Jorge has existed for more than 2 decades and has been engaged in propaganda and disinformation activities in more than 30 countries. However, its first documented activity dates back to 2015, just before Trump lost the election but was put in anyway by the APAC swamp. Yeah, never mind that part though. Their services have been available to government intelligence agencies, political campaigns, and private companies that wish to covertly manipulate public opinion. One of the organization's primary tools is a software package called Advanced Impact Media Solutions, or AIMS. The software automates centralized control of thousands of fake social media profiles on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Telegram, TikTok, YouTube, you name it, all of them. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? But you know what's even more interesting, or just as interesting, is when you go look up act.il. Notice page can't be edited at all. Act.il, and Team Jorge is just one Israeli group that was exposed. There are many, many hundreds, if not thousands, of other secret Israeli black ops groups that specialize in cyber espionage. According to Naftali Bennett, the guy that we just saw the video of, he said that in the future, I think it was 70 or 80% of all wars will be fought in the cyber sphere. Interesting how he just happened to say that. Act.il was a social networking service used by supporters of Israel to oppose online, quote, anti-Israel content, such as the BDS movement, boycott, divestments, and sanctions. Its activities were referred to as an, quote, online propaganda campaign and, quote, a virtual situation room for pro-Israel experts. Okay, now pay attention here. Act.il directed its users to, quote, missions to like, comment on, and share pro-Israel material on social media. It also asked users to flag, report, and respond to criticisms of Israel. Users were guided on how to respond, which might entail writing a reply using the provided talking points, or sharing or upvoting an allied comment. The provided talking points. Call them schizophrenic. Call them schizophrenic. Call them schizophrenic. Even though it doesn't fit, even though you're too stupid to come up with a better mental illness that might fit a little better, schizophrenic is a common thing that your average person has at least heard of. So when you say that, it's going to trigger, oh, mental, okay. They're not going to actually know what schizophrenic necessarily means, but it's at least going to trigger something. The app also provided users with ready-made memes promoting Israel's perspective for them to share. Now, again, pay attention. By completing missions, users earned points, unlocked badges, and had their scores displayed on leaderboards. Isn't that interesting? So when you look at what's happening with my feed, right? You either think that there's a lot of real good red-blooded Americans on here who, hate the idea of killing pedophiles, hate the idea of stopping genocide, and hate the idea of ending the control scheme that has us giving trillions of dollars of American tax dollars to a foreign corporation, right? You either have people on that side, which I'm sure there are tons of them, or you have Team Jorge, which is the automatic, or the centralized control, the automated centralized control of thousands of fake profiles, which a lot of these fall into that category, and or Act.il, which is the bringing in the people, rewarding people, giving them prizes and shit for doing this kind of work. So which one makes more sense? That Americans are just mad at me, even though they won't say why. They won't actually acknowledge why they're here, what has them so upset, what they oppose. And they're really mad about my perspective on submarines. Or Israeli cyber infiltration. Which makes more sense? I guarantee you've never seen a feed like mine before. I guarantee you've never been on any sort of truther page, truther channel, where this is what the comment section looks like. You know, trying to bring up other conspiracy theories just so I stop talking about this one. Why would anybody want me to stop talking about this? Like answer that question. Who would want that? What benefit does average Joe six-pack get if I stop talking about this? They like the ones that, you know, again, they're watching me on YouTube, meaning they have access to thousands and thousands of other options. Probably on a phone or a computer. So then they have access to thousands and thousands of other, you know, hundreds of platforms and other options that they could be doing on their computer alone. They have TVs with, you know, the cable and the sticks. So they could be they have DVDs. They could be watching anything else they want to watch. They have video games. They could be playing any video game they want to watch. Anything else in the world they could be doing. They could be out gardening. They could be out tinkering with their remote control cars. They could be learning a new language. They could be out eating with, they could be out literally doing anything else. And instead they're here desperately trying to get me to stop talking about what I'm talking about. How does that make sense to anyone? Not to mention, no matter how many times I block their profiles, they just make new ones so they can continue to watch me. They somehow bypass the system that requires you to have all these different IP, you know, to have an IP address associated with, like, it's not the easiest thing to do to come up with multiple profiles. Sure, you can do it. You have to be able to change your IP address and shit like that. But, like, the amount of effort that goes into me for being wrong sure does seem strange. I mean, you know, I would never put in this much effort into an individual person who is 100% wrong. Like, why would I ever do that? And if I did put effort in, I would be trying to engage in what they're wrong about, not just trying to get their attention by saying off-the-wall stupid shit. This feed seems to be pretty compromised. So let's reset. We'll come back and continue this. So, pedophiles, kill yourself. You know the drill. Go get your links and stuff in the description. Link to the download, free download, which is compromised now. Link to the Hollywoodism, which is the most important film ever made, and links to our Facebook videos. Go check those out. Like I say, I'll be right back if you got nothing else going on. But I'm gonna just, this is clearly compromised. So we will try again. So pedophiles, kill yourself.